Monday afternoon, guys. Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. Thank you for joining us on a gorgeous Monday in Charlottesville, in Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. We are live across every social media platform known to mankind. We're presented by Skooma Boutique Dispensary in the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. Skooma Boutique Dispensary. Knowledge, authenticity, education, approachability. Skooma Boutique Dispensary, whether it's CBD, whether it's Delta 8, whether it's the tools you need to partake in CBD and Delta 8. It's Skooma Boutique Dispensary. Of course, the network powered by Ting Fiber Internet. Crazy fast internet is Ting Fiber Internet. And our friends at Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Dr. Wagner has your back. So much to cover again. On a Monday, the New York Times has featured Charlottesville yet again. This their third article, the New York Times, in less than 60 days on the city of Charlottesville. We will offer the perspective on the most recent article. It's tied to the upzoning that is on the near horizon and the political dichotomy that is upzoning in a Charlottesville with a long, dubious history with its real estate and its zoning codes. We will talk school bus driver shortage in the city of Charlottesville. As of right now, this very moment, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are 3 weeks from school starting, yet city schools, Charlottesville city schools, do not have enough bus drivers. There's only 9 bus drivers for Charlottesville city schools. 30 drivers are needed. We are 21 bus drivers short for schools in the city of Charlottesville. That topic on today's edition of the I Love CVille Show. I'm going to ask you a very straightforward question. Why is the UVA hospital system not mandating vaccinations for all of its employees? I'll repeat the question. Why is the UVA hospital system not mandating vaccinations for all its employees? What kind of example is set by the hospital system that is most entrusted in Central Virginia to keep people on the up and up and to keep people on this side of the mud? That question on the I Love CVille Show. How about this? The Downtown Grille in the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. For so long, one of the premier steakhouses in the city of Charlottesville. Aberdeen Barn, Downtown Grille. Downtown Grille, Aberdeen Barn. Both had very loyal followings. The Downtown Grille, early last year during COVID, peaced out. Hasta luego, sayonara, hit the road jack. They decided to put the for lease sign in the window and just close the doors as opposed to trying to struggle and fight and survive the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, it's August 2nd, 2021. I'm talking, what? 3, 8, we're talking 17 months, roughly, since the Downtown Grille put a for lease sign in its window. The Grille is still vacant, unoccupied, and sitting on the mall as a shadow of its former self. What do we need to do to rent the Downtown Grille on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall? We'll assess that question today on the I Love CVille Show. I also want to talk booster shots and the Delta variant. COVID cases surging in New York. Delta variant is no joke, boys and girls. More contagious than the chicken pox. Still, we start with the New York Times article that I have right in front of me. I've shared this article on every platform on the I Love CVille Network. Just hop over to Instagram, go to my LinkedIn, check out one of the Facebook pages, one of the Twitter pages, and you can find the article. I will show you a screenshot right here. In fact, Judah, if you can get, I know this is asking you to do something on the fly, if you can get a screenshot from that link on screen, that would be huge. The headline is this from the New York Times. A fight over zoning tests Charlottesville progress on race. The gist of the article is as follows, and I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version. This is the World's newspaper. This is the third time the World's newspaper has featured the city of Charlottesville in less than 60 days. The third time, boys and girls. The first time was the New York Times telling everyone on the East Coast in the world that Charlottesville and Albemarle County was one of the best places to vacation because of our tremendously high vaccination rates. Albemarle County and City of Charlottesville, two of the best jurisdictions in the Commonwealth from a vaccination standpoint. In fact, if you stack up vaccination rates in Albemarle County and the City of Charlottesville, we are really, 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 really strong from a national average standpoint. As a result, the New York Times tells its readership, its viewership, go down to Central Virginia, go to Charlottesville, go to Albemarle County, vacation, spend your money, enjoy it. This is a spot to go on the Eastern Seaboard. The impact that's going to have is not even felt yet. When the world's newspaper touts your municipality and says, go vacation there, thousands, if not tens of thousands, will flock to our city, to our region, and to our county and see what we see. Majestic mountains, opportunities for outside enjoyment, hiking and rafting and kayaking and mountain biking and restaurants galore. A music scene that can rival just about any city in the country thanks to red light management and Corin Capshaw. A University of Virginia athletic department that is literally a national perennial contender in every sport except for football. Charlottesville and Albemarle County, it's the reason we live here, has so much to offer. The world's newspaper sending folks by the tens of thousands to the region to experience what we get to enjoy every day. That was the first article. That was roughly 50-some days ago. The second article, man, my phone is blowing up with viewers asking questions. I will get to this. The second article was about the statues coming down. Every outlet covered that. This happened, what, a couple weekends ago. Statues coming down, the world's newspaper is there. Now, the article I want to discuss today from the world's newspaper is the fight over zoning and how it's challenging Charlottesville's progressive mentality on race. Now, we know, and I'm a straight shooter, you guys know that, that's why you watch the show. We know that we have a dubious history in Charlottesville when it comes to zoning and race. We know we have a dubious history in Charlottesville when it comes to razing Vinegar Hill and destroying the businesses and eradicating home ownership from the African American community in this town decades ago. We know we have a dubious history in Charlottesville when it comes to August 12th, when it comes to statues, when it comes to gentrification, when it comes to money and affluence pushing out the old guard here in the city. All those things are happening. We're going through an upzoning discussion, literally as we speak. And in a nutshell, that discussion for the city only is allowing more opportunities for density on R1 single-family detached pieces of property. The discussion that's being had right now is creating opportunity for dirt that is the home to a single-family home. And if you upzone, you could potentially put a duplex, a triplex, a quadplex, some townhomes, and the conversation, the speculation, the prediction by leadership, by consultants, by those that are zoning experts, is increasing the density, adding more housing stock to the city will create more supply. And if you create more supply, that could potentially put price point pressure, which could yield affordability, more affordable housing. So that's a Cliff Notes version of the upzoning that's happening now. The New York Times, yesterday, in the Sunday edition of the world's newspaper, penned an article for its print and digital outlets about the fight over zoning and how we want to be a progressive city, yet that progressive mentality is not being matched or embodied when it comes to zoning in our area. The New York Times writes an article that says, how can you be progressive? How can you push for equality social justice, the eradication of statues? How can you push the African American population forward? Remember, it's dwindling pretty fast here in the city. It's becoming a very white city. How can you be pro-social justice, pro-equality, pro-moving forward in addressing the dubious history that I recently and just moments ago outlined? Yet you're against creating more density and zoning changes because you don't want more crowds, more traffic, more congestions. Perhaps you're fearful of quality of life impact. I hear often, we don't want Charlottesville to turn into Northern Virginia. We don't want the density and the urban sprawl of Fredericksburg. So in the city, neighborhoods are galvanizing together. Homeowners associations are speaking in their bullhorns and shouting from the tip of Carter's Mountain, "Not so fast, my friends. We don't necessarily want this upzoning." So it's the political dichotomy of individuals saying, we want social justice. We want a living wage for everyone. We need to face our dubious history and the destruction we did of Vinegar Hill, a historically black neighborhood, and the eradication of homes and the destruction of businesses and the generational impact it had on the African Americans living in Vinegar Hill at the time. Individuals are screaming, "No statues, no statues, take them down." Individuals are saying, we need a focus on social justice. But the same folks, according to the New York Times, are contradicting themselves. Because if you're anti-upzoning, according to the New York Times, if you're anti-housing density increases, according to the New York Times, then you're a walking contradiction when it comes to social justice. And I say to the New York Times, you're reading this and analyzing this incorrectly. Upzoning, you can make a legitimate argument, could further and expedite gentrification in the city. I'm going to ask you this question. You take the city of Charlottesville, where do you think are the most affordable pockets of real estate in the city of Charlottesville right now? And I'm not just talking like one unit here, one unit there. Where are the most affordable pockets of real estate in the city of Charlottesville? I'm going to give you four pockets of affordable real estate in the city of Charlottesville. 1, Fifeville. In no particular order. 1, Fifeville. 2, the 10th and Page neighborhood. 3, the Prospect and Orangedale area of the city. Right? Those 3, somewhat affordable. And number 4, the little neighborhood on the other side of Free Bridge. If you're driving down High Street, you pass Riverside on your left, you pass Jack and Jill's on your right, you pass Fabio's on your left, you pass Cosner Brothers on your right. You go over Free Bridge, over to River Road, and you got a cluster of ranchers that you can still find that are in the high 2s and low 3s. Those are the 4 most affordable pockets of real estate in the city of Charlottesville right now. 10th and Page, Prospect and Orangedale, Fifeville, and the River Road area on the other side of Free Bridge. If you take those 4 neighborhoods and you allow those pieces of property, those parcels, to be upzoned, and you allow the parcels to evolve from a single-family detached home, many of them are older, many of them need a lot of work, many of them are a bit dilapidated and need some TLC, some tender, loving care. And you take those parcels and you allow individuals with money, individuals with resources, individuals with a contact list that's the who's who of remodeling and construction and the supply chain that follows. And you allow those parcels to be potentially scooped up by individuals that can afford to put duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes on them. What do you think is going to happen to those 4 neighborhoods, 10th and Page, Orangedale and Prospect, Fifeville, and River Road? My prediction is expedited gentrification. If you allow a single-family detached home to be evolved into a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, would you not see the opportunity to make some money if you have resources? That, my friends, is something that is not being considered right now. So when the New York Times says it's a contradiction or a catch-22 if you're anti-statues, pro-social justice, pro-living wage, pro-facing our dubious history, but vehemently opposed to upzoning, they're saying that's a contradiction. I say, New York Times, you're missing the true point of what's happening here. And the true point is the added density does not necessarily mean social justice and housing for marginalized individuals. I would say it's quite the opposite. The added density, if anything, is going to push out marginalized individuals, marginalized groups of people, folks that don't have economic means, oftentimes people of color, away from the city even faster. Because the people scooping up the land realize the long-term revenue potential of converting a single-family detached home with limited rental income revenue potential and evolving that single-family detached house into a duplex, triplex, or quadplex. And that, my friends, is gentrification at its worst. Prove me wrong. If you disagree, put the comments in the comment feed, and I will relay them live on air. Regardless, the world's newspaper has showcased Charlottesville 3 times in the last 60 days. And I asked this question, I painted this picture, I posed this outline on the Monday Market Monitor, our newest show featuring Nikki Chambliss and Keith Smith here in the I Love CVille Network. The Federal Reserve and Jay Powell have committed to keeping interest rates at generational and historic lows for a while now, moving forward now. You got the University of Virginia admitting more students than ever before. You got big-time employers setting up Charlottesville shops like Dexcom, like the Code Building on the downtown mall. You got a data science school backed by $125 million of Joffrey Woodruff's money ready to open in the very near future. That's going to be a farm system for data science geniuses. Ladies and gentlemen, the city of Charlottesville, already dubbed a Zoom town. A Zoom town is an area where folks can work from ISPs while maintaining big city salaries. The demand to live in the city of Charlottesville is not waning. It's increasing. And I've learned through Real Talk, a show that airs Tuesdays and Fridays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille Network, for about 12 or 13 years, America, Virginia, Central Virginia, Albemarle County, and the city of Charlottesville has not and have not produced the housing stock we've needed to keep up with millennial and younger demand. So here's the nitty-gritty. We have an awesome place to live. People vacation here, and the world's newspapers telling people to come visit. They get a taste of Charlottesville and Central Virginia. They want to come back, and they start thinking what they can do to move here permanently. UVA students spend 4 years of the best years of their lives, and I'm one. And they say, good God, these 4 years were magical. And we fall in love with the city, and we figure out as fourth years, maybe the year after college, how to make Charlottesville and the surrounding areas our full-time homes. A data science school that's going to produce 6-figure salary students and push them into the workforce. The Center of Developing Entrepreneurs, Dexcom, more students coming to the area than ever. They're going to need a place to live. Their parents will scoop up real estate and say, you're going to stay here 3 of your 4 years, and we'll sell on the 4th, and we'll make some return on investment. The pinch in the city and in the county is only getting more feisty and certainly much more unmanageable. Time will tell, but the crystal ball on this network is very, 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 very right most of the times. All right, let's talk City of Charlottesville and schools. I'm going to give you a troubling statistic here. You guys ready for this troubling statistic? We are 3 weeks away from city schools opening. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 weeks away. There are 9 bus drivers for Charlottesville City Schools. 9. You need roughly 30. 9 bus drivers. You need roughly 30. We're 3 weeks away. How are we going to get kids to and from school? Now, City Manager Chip Boyles, A-plus guy, huge fan of Chip Boyles. Someone tell Chip Boyles I said this. Chip, you're an A-plus dude. Chip, you are dressed flawlessly every time I see you. Dressed to the nines, looking sharp constantly, Mr. Chip Boyles. I love your low-key nature, Chip. I love how you get people working together, Chip. I love how you started writing this ship that we call the City of Charlottesville, Mr. Chip Boyles, Mr. City Manager. Charlottesville leadership has got to do something. You need roughly 30 bus drivers. You got 9. You're 3 weeks away from school starting. You could potentially pull some of those drivers from the Charlottesville Albemarle Transit from CAT and have them driving yellow school buses around. But I'm going to ask you guys this question. Are you ready? We know that children 12 and under cannot be vaccinated yet because there's not enough data science. There's that term again, data science. We're about to have a data science school here in Charlottesville. There's not enough data science to determine the risk associated with vaccinating kids 12 and under. So you have a skill, and driving a bus is certainly a skill. It's a huge structure. It's a huge vehicle. You have the lives of tens of people in your hands. Any mistake you do driving a bus, you risk hurting a lot of people, injuring a lot of people, even worse. We've all heard the horror stories of limos in accidents, school buses in accidents, public transportation in accidents. It's not good. People aren't buckled in. They're not focused on their surroundings and what's ahead of them in the road. They're just sitting there on a bus trying to get driven to where they need to go. So you're a school bus guy. You're a school bus driver, a gal or a guy. A, you're severely underpaid. So much so that CAT drivers, Charlottesville Albemarle Transit, are trying to unionize now to use collective bargaining to increase their pay. So A, you're underpaid. B, you're devalued. You step on a bus, public transportation, the bus drivers aren't treated with the respect they deserve. C, you're a school bus driver. You got 20, 30, 40 kids behind you screaming and yelling, throwing the paper airplanes, popping their gum, getting out of their seat, and frankly not listening to you as a bus driver. You have to watch the kids through the big rear view mirror in front of the bus. You're screaming over the shoulder while you're trying to drive down West Main. while you're trying to drive down 10th Street, Preston Avenue, while you're trying to drive down Ridge Street, Cherry Avenue, while you're trying to drive down Little Graves, Grave Street, Goodman, right? Rugby Road, Rose Hill Drive. You got rugrats screaming in your ear. You're underpaid, you're undervalued, you're disrespected. And if you're a school bus driver, you risk getting inside a tin can that's poorly ventilated with kids 12 and under who have not been vaccinated. Now, let me try to make a compelling argument of why you want to be a school bus driver. Well, to make that compelling argument, we're going to have to get over the fact that you don't make much money. To make that compelling argument, we're going to have to get over the fact that you're not respected. You're often devalued in society. To make that compelling argument, you're going to have to get over the fact that you're going to have 20, 30, 40 rugrats screaming and chirping in your ear, not sitting in their seat, not listening to you. And to make that compelling argument, you're going to have to get over the fact that the kids you're driving around in this yellow tin can have not been pricked in their arm, have not been vaccinated. You're potentially exposed to the most high-risk population in the area. Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville are crushing it with vaccinations. Some of the best in the country from a metric standpoint. Us in Charlottesville, in Albemarle County, we're doing a hell of a job. Thumbs up. But you want to know who has not been vaccinated in the city of Charlottesville, in Albemarle County? Kids, children, bambinos, rugrats. They haven't been vaccinated. So how do you make a compelling argument to draw more interest in school bus driving? You got 9 drivers now. You need roughly 30. How do you make a compelling argument? Well, Mr. School Bus Driver, you're not paid that much money. Well, Mr. School Bus Driver, Mrs. School Bus Driver, society devalues you. It's unfair. It's not just. That's what society does. Well, Mrs. School Bus Driver, you're going to have 10, 20, 30 rugrats screaming and chirping in your ear. Well, Mr. School Bus Driver, you're going to have to drive 10, 20, 30 kids around that haven't been vaccinated, and God knows where they've been all summer and what's going through their bodies. Is that an easy argument to make? I don't think so. Do you? I don't think so. Do you? And taking bus drivers from CAT and putting them on school routes, what is that going to do to morale at Charlottesville Albemarle Transit? Morale is already low at Charlottesville Albemarle Transit. So much so that team members at Charlottesville Albemarle Transit, CAT, are trying to unionize and use the power of collective bargaining to get better quality of life, better benefits, better pay. So let's take an organization in CAT, Charlottesville Albemarle Transit, that already has low morale, and let's pull some of those team members over to yellow tin cans and have them drive around 10, 20, 30, 40 rugrats that haven't been vaccinated or protected from Delta variant, from COVID. What's that going to do to morale at CAT? Can you think of, what do you think are the most vulnerable spots you can be in for catching COVID or this Delta variant that's more contagious than the chickenpox? I think number one undoubtedly is riding an elevator with strangers. Let me get in a box. Let me get in a box for 15 to 45 seconds. And in these tight confines that are poorly ventilated, let me stand shoulder to shoulder, toe to toe, hip to hip, temple to temple with strangers to get from the first floor to the 10th floor, from the first floor to the 5th floor. Maybe some of them will have masks on, maybe some won't. I can't think of a more risky proposition from a Delta variant, from a COVID standpoint, than riding an elevator. That's number one for me. And Judah, if you could think of more risky situations than riding an elevator from a COVID standpoint, please help me. Okay? That's my number one. You get on an elevator with strangers who are unmasked, that you don't know if they've been vaccinated or not. That's the scariest spot you can be from a Delta or COVID standpoint. You know what number two is for me? A bus. A bus. There is a direct correlation that you can make. Data science. This is data science again. Data science. You can utilize data science and figure out the correlation between education, affluence, and vaccinations. I'm going to cut to the damn chase here. Educated individuals that have money, the data science shows, are more prone to being vaccinated. Now let's extrapolate it even further. Educated individuals that are deep-pocketed and have financial resources are educated individuals that are affluent, that have money, riding public transportation. Probably not. Probably not many. Take it a step further. Educated individuals, educated mommies and daddies, educated mommies and daddies that have financial resources and money, are the educated mommies and daddies that have financial resources and money having their kids ride school buses at the clip or frequency of, say, someone that may not have a high school diploma, mommy and daddy, or a mommy and daddy that may be living paycheck to paycheck. Common sense would say the moms and dads that have money and education are driving their students, their kids, to school because they have the resources and means. That same common sense would say the moms and dads that have to work 1, 2, or 3 jobs to pay the rent, to pay the mortgage, to get food on the table, they are the ones that are asking children, their kids, to ride the school buses because their focus is on work and paying the bills. So here you're a school bus driver. You know you're underpaid. You know you're undervalued. You know you're going to be driving little Johnny and little Susie and his or her friends from home to school and back. You know they're not going to listen while riding in the tin can. You know children 12 and under have not been vaccinated. You know the kids that are riding the bus at a greater frequency or rate are coming from homes that are not as educated and as affluent. And you know there's a direct correlation because you use data science and common sense between affluence and education and vaccinations, and no affluence and no education and a lower rate of vaccines. Riding a school bus and driving one, while not as risky a proposition as standing in an elevator with strangers, I would think it's a close second. You have any ideas, J-Dubs, Judah Wickower? Most risky spots to be if you want to catch COVID? I say elevator's number one. I say getting in a tin can with strangers, public transportation, is number 2. And if I was analyzing the public transportation and the most unsafe versions of said transport, I would say school buses, even more risky than Charlottesville-Albemarle Transit, because children 12 and under cannot get vaccinated yet. Good luck recruiting the bus drivers. Good luck getting men and women to drive tin cans to and from schools with 10 to 40 kids who've not been arm pricked yet. Prove me wrong. If you think I am, I'll read your perspective on air. Just put it in the feed. Now, this broke Friday afternoon. Albemarle County schools are requiring their students this fall to wear masks in school anytime a student is inside a building. Now, you can take them off when you're outside, but if you're inside a building, you're going to be required to wear a mask in the classroom for Albemarle County schools and its students. My friends, viewers and listeners of this program, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, ilovecville.com, our e-newsletter that goes out to 118,000 inboxes every day at 11 a.m. However you get this show into your conscious, your subconscious, or your medulla oblongata. You didn't like that one, Judah? Medulla oblongata? It's part of your brain, Judah. Oh, okay. I'm saying it wrong? Okay. Judah Whitcower is our fabulous director, the moral compass of the show. There are so many of us that have kids and students that are going to school in 3 weeks or less, our little boy included. And we all want this sense of normalcy and quality of life for our little tykes. Our Bambino is 3. He's going to preschool 5 days a week. And both mommy and daddy are shouting with joy that he's going to school and gets to be in an environment that helps socialize and nurture and work on behavior and following the rules, an environment that teaches him, and an environment where he can learn and prosper and blossom and spread his wings and get away from mom and dad, the two people that he's known the most in his life and spent the most time with in his life. Kicking baby bird out of the nest and saying, baby bird, it's your time to fly, albeit just for the mornings 5 days a week. That's an important aspect of maturation and growing up. But all of us, we crave and we yearn and we hope and we pray and we reflect on a childhood and a schooling experience that us adults were able to enjoy. One of carefree mentalities, one of playground enjoyment, one of seeing people's faces and interacting with them and sharing stories with them and learning from each other. And while wearing masks in school is undoubtedly, from my perspective, the right decision, because 12 and under has not been vaccinated, and we need to protect our next generation, there's still an aspect of my soul and my heart that is saddened by this experience. Because I realize, just like my better half realizes, it's quite different than what we enjoyed as preschoolers, kindergartners, first graders, second graders, third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders, and beyond. This Delta variant is no joke. Booster shots are on the horizon, especially for people like me who got the one-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccination. I will line up for a booster shot and gladly take it in my arm as soon as it's available for me. This Delta variant is getting folks that are vaccinated sick. You look at what's happening in New York, okay? I'm going to give you a statistic right now. New York, the state, its 7-day coronavirus case count jumped 2,418, which is an increase of 81% from the week prior. according to Johns Hopkins University. Week over week, the state of New York has seen an 81% increase in coronavirus cases. The governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, gave transportation workers the option to get vaccinated by Labor Day or face weekly coronavirus tests. Dr. Scott Gottlieb of CNBC, who I follow very closely, the former commissioner of the FDA, Scott Gottlieb, a guy who has handled and managed and advised and offered perspective on COVID since the beginning that has been better than Dr. Anthony Fauci, in my opinion. Dr. Scott Gottlieb told CNBC today he believes booster shots for the coronavirus vaccine will be given to older and health compromised individuals by September or October of this year. The former FDA chief said the U.S. government has purchased enough vaccines to give booster shots to its entire population. And he advised this morning, he warned this morning on CNBC, I watched it, that the wave of Delta infections currently sweeping the southern portions of the United States will soon be impacting the north, and it will all happen as schools reopen. So here we are in August, boys and girls. Here we are in August, German Shepherds and Chow Chows. We have moms and dads and their offspring taking the last hurrah, the last vacation before school starts. Traveling, let's be reasonable, all over the country. I don't know a lot of folks that are doing global trips now. Consumer confidence is much higher for travel within the country than globally. We got people traveling all over the nation, all over America. And in less than 3 weeks, the moms and dads will be sending bambinos and bambinas to hallways, to schools, to poorly ventilated infrastructures of learning. And they're going to send their bambinos and bambinas to poorly ventilated infrastructures of learning, knowing the fact that 12 and under has yet to be arm pricked and protected from Delta and Corona. Oh, and guess what? Flu season is right around the corner. I'm going to ask you guys this question. Can anyone explain to me why the UVA hospital system is not requiring or mandating its team members to be vaccinated? I'm going to ask you this question. Is it not a contradiction that the UVA hospital and health system is encouraging, championing, pushing, advocating for vaccinations, yet the UVA hospital and health system is not mandating its team members to get arm pricked themselves? That seems like an oxymoron to me. Parting is such sweet sorrow. That's an oxymoron. UVA health system encouraging Central Virginia, demanding Central Virginia to get vaccinated, yet its employees don't have to do it themselves. That seems like an oxymoron or a contradiction. Can someone explain to me why UVA hospital system, its health system, is not demanding that its employees be vaccinated for them to return into their buildings? Does anyone understand that? I don't. Hospital, where you go to stay safe, where you go to get healthy, where you go to get cured. Hospital, where you go to get fixed, where you go to get your life saved. Hospital. The most intelligent people from a health and wellness, in education from a health and wellness standpoint, there, working. Hospital. Bosses of said hospital. Nah, we're not mandating vaccines. Do what you think is right. What? Really? Anyone find that to be a head scratcher? I do. Do you? Find it very odd. Now, one more item out of the notebook before I get to your comments. And if you'd like to relay a comment on air, put them in the comment section, and we'll get to them in about 5 minutes on the program. There's a steakhouse on the downtown mall, the Downtown Grille. And the Downtown Grille was one of the first restaurants to shut their doors for good when COVID hit Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Wild Wing Cafe was one of them. The Downtown Grille was one of them. Zinburger was another one. Jason's Deli was yet another. So many have closed their doors permanently. Sheetz, Little John's, Michael's Bistro, the College Inn, just to name a few. The Downtown Grille still has a for lease sign in its window. Unlike some of the restaurants that have come back on market, have reopened their doors, the Downtown Grille sits on the downtown mall collecting cobwebs, spiders. The Downtown Grille from time to time has a houseless individual. It's not homeless anymore. The preferred nomenclature is now houseless, I've been told. Been corrected many times by saying homeless. It's now houseless individual. The Downtown Grille has a houseless individual who's built a cardboard box abode at the entrance of the Downtown Grille. That little covered entryway. This houseless individual has aggregated and collected cardboard boxes to build protection from inclement weather and is utilizing the entryway to the grill as a sleeping quarters, a personal sleeping quarters for himself. So you have one of the most marquee locations, one of the most marquee brands, one of the largest restaurants in the city that has gone from fantastic commercial broker Lee Hughes. The listing with Mr. Hughes expired and is now in the hands with a pair of fantastic brokers in Jenny Stoner and Johnny Pritzloff. What needs to happen for the Downtown Grille to find a tenant? Why has the Downtown Grille not been rented? You're on the mall. You're on the busy side of the mall. The Whiskey Jar movie theater, Downtown Grille side is the busy side. You're across from a movie theater. You got a cut-through street so the older population can be dropped off right in front of the grill. You got the Code building ready to open, Center of Developing Entrepreneurs. You got Fridays After 5 that's now come back on market. You see the downtown mall's popping. It's hopping. It's come back to life. Why has the Downtown Grille not found a suitable tenant, a suitable entrepreneur, a man or a woman, a group of people that are looking to take the risk of starting or launching a new dream, a new business, a new restaurant in the Downtown Grille footprint? Well, boys and girls, I think it's directly tied to the massive size of the space. Monthly rents are directly correlated with square footage. And when you have a restaurant the size of the Downtown Grill, when you have a restaurant the size of Wild Wing Cafe, it's going to really diminish potential tenants because they see the monthly nut that they have to cover before they can pay themselves. The restaurants, they're going to be hot, in vogue, popular. The restaurants that are going to be the ones that people want to rent are the ones with smaller footprints. So I've said it once, and I'll say it again. The future of the grill is not in its current footprint. The future of the grill is one of chopped up nature, smaller footprint, shorter or smaller rents, lower rents, more manageable business model, more opportunity for the business owner to pay him or herself a decent salary in a restaurant business that is as competitive as any category in Central Virginia. All right, let's get to your comments. This is from Leslie. Jerry, I love the program. You always have me thinking about certain things. From a school bus standpoint, maybe the demand is not there for kids needing to ride the bus, and if the demand's not there because parents feel safer driving their kids to work, perhaps that we won't need as many drivers in Charlottesville City Schools. I understand your point about adults driving kids around that haven't been vaccinated, but I think the demand for ridership with children going to and from schools is going to be at an all-time low. We will see. Thank you for your show. Thank you, Leslie. That was very nice of you. I enjoy those kind words. I'm going to say this. We're still going to need school buses to drive students around. And the reason that is because parents have to work. And school starts and ends during the workday. And employers, not all of them, will allow their team members to leave work to pick up their kids. And while I agree with Leslie, and thank you for the comment, I'm truly grateful, I still think we're going to have a demand from students and from parents that need their kids to take a tin can to school and back. Time will tell. All right, that's the Monday edition of the I Love CVille Show. Tomorrow is going to be a lively one. It's going to start with Real Talk at 10:15 a.m. 10:15 a.m. Real Talk. And then the I Love CVille Show, 12:30. Thank you for joining us on a glorious day to be alive in Charlottesville. Take care.